Good evening, one and all, and welcome to Ashbury Arts live stream. Tonight we are doing a Reddit Story Thursday. As you can see here, like I said last night, we're going to be doing episode 3. Where are the real people? Meaning, where are the real designer? Where are the real small businesses that are trying to do design for people? This is all sparked because there was someone called Educational Reason 156 about 10 days ago that came across my subreddit feed asking, as a small business owner, are there any legitimate web design companies? Let's go ahead and read through this article because I want to be able to determine if there are any and what I need to include on my website so that you know that I'm real. Outside of obviously you see me on camera. Let me tell you, this hair is not AI generated. It is in a bun because, yeah, curly hair, girly hair. And also, I do want to apologize for starting this late. There was something that I was not expecting to take that long, that took a little bit longer than expected. So I appreciate anyone that is able to tune in tonight, even though we're starting 26 minutes late. This will be a full 30-minute video. So let's go ahead and get started. So this Reddit user says, I have a small service business and I need to update my website. It feels like I'm at a used car dealership and everyone is trying to rip me off. That is sad. A few months ago, I hired Bluehost for their hosting, web design services, and SEO services. And after a couple of months, I realized they really suck. Just so you know, I am a PG, potentially 13 kind of person, anyways. So I don't normally swear. So things will be censored automatically just because that's me as a person. If I'm going to tell someone off or anything like that, it's going to be an intellectual tell off. Think more of like medieval. So that's a fun fact about me. They sent a design that was absolutely crap. And after I pointed that out, they didn't have a resolution. In the end, they never delivered a website, but immediately started charging for SEO. As we know, that means search engine optimization. I called customer service and tried to cancel my service, but they ripped me off to the tune of $1,500. Thank goodness I didn't switch my domain over to them. Worst experience of my life. I'm not answering any DMs, but how do I how should I screen companies to find someone legitimate for a small WordPress site? And they do already have an update on whatever happened. So after a few weeks of emails and calls to Bluehost, I received this email. Thank you for reaching out and sharing your concerns. After reviewing your account, I see that the website build has already been completed. Because of this, a refund is unfortunately not at this stage. If you choose to cancel your services, there will be a $300 cancellation fee, and the completed site will no longer be available. Given your current progress, I'd recommend proceeding with the site launch and continue with the marketing plan so you can get the full value from your investment. Please let me know how you would like to proceed, and I will be happy to assist you with the next step. Final comment is avoid this company. What a scam. I want to preface, I have never worked directly with Bluehost. I am not saying that. That is on the behalf of the Redditor. I think everyone's experience is valid. I will say, from me working in customer service as long as I did, currently am, I'm thinking that this was a little bit of an automated email. And unfortunately, I think this person got tied up in the terms and conditions because there's probably something in there that says once a product's been delivered, there cannot be a cancellation and there is a fee. So it's all that fine print that really should be up front. But at the same time, do you want someone to have to read? Like, I'm even looking over here. Reddit has the rules, policy, and procedure agreement, everything else, accessibility. Great on them. But how many people actually read that on onboarding? And actually, I remember there is a TikToker that I think his name's Sean. He goes through the terms of services so that you don't have to. I know that's his motto. And yeah, I'm thinking he was caught up in some he or she. I don't know the gender of this poster. They were caught up in the terms and conditions of whatever Bluehost has listed. But I'm not a legal channel, so we're not going into the terms and conditions. And I also don't work for a credit card company, more for disputes. Okay, let's go ahead and see. The first comment was, as someone who builds and runs sites for small businesses, why not just look for someone local? Every town/city should have a web designer or two. The person says, I tried it first. And someone else says, because there's not always someone good local. And someone else says, there has to be at least a handful of good local web design companies within your town or neighboring town, or you can reach out to some companies and ask who they use for their website if it's a good site. They don't even have to do all that. Wappalizer is free for everyone to use. I am not sponsored by this company. Just heads up. But on Wappalizer, say for instance, what's a good... I'm trying to think of a service-based business that is not close to my area. And it's not a multi-trillion-dollar corporation like Barnes and Noble or Walmart. We'll try fine art, photography, and no. Nope. Fine art. Oh, it's an AI search. I don't want that. Here we go. Fine art, photography, in... We'll still stay in the continental United States, but like Alaska. I am not in Alaska. Okay. So there's Jeff Schultz. So you see this little purple box here? I think I've showed it before. Normally, you might have to refresh it a couple times. But normally it tells you who they used. Okay, it's not showing up on this one, but it does say that they have Pixel for Google. And shout out to him. These pictures are gorgeous. Oh, that nice guy looks so pretty in the most. And all Alaska prints. Powered by Pixel Pro, Fine Art America wall art, Pixels, t-shirt, and stickers. I think this one is probably... Yep. Boom. Right there. It is at the bottom of the page. It tells you where their website is powered by, and that's probably who built the website. So you like that website, you can go here, Pixel Pro, and kind of like Wix and Squarespace, they'll probably have a little thing where you can feature available products, website examples. I love how I'm showing how to how to find competition. And I love how I said Alaska, and they're like, yeah, no. But they have like places that show who built it, how much does it cost for a site. This is more like a marketplace situation. However, still, it shows, hey, this is how you can do it. So there is no excuse on... Well, there is an excuse because people just don't have the knowledge, and you don't have the knowledge because you don't know that you need to find something until you know that you need to find something. I've had a very similar experience when it came down to trying to find craft shows in my area, which that could be a whole series on its own. But trying to find a good Facebook one to attend to try to sell products at is hard. None of this stuff is easy. You gotta just try, and it costs a lot of time and money. We'll go on to the next one though. And this is from the About. I've been through the nightmare of trying to get a small service site done properly, and what worked for me was durable. I run clean I run a cleaning business, and it was nice to get a site that actually lets people see what I do, book jobs, and pay me, all without having to deal with a bunch of different tools. That's good to know. People want simplicity on their website redesigns. It's simple, straightforward, and really felt like it was made for small businesses like mine. Made the whole process way less stressful. Uh, thank you. Did you? They didn't mention who it was. Successful Escape 74 says, "Don't be cheap. Hire a professional. Expect to pay a few $1,000s and 200 a month for hosting and maintenance." Let's see if there's any additional comments. I would say don't make small businesses think they have to pay a few thousand. And yes, I am struggling with my pricing model because the issue is you go from being something where it's a product base where okay, 5 pages. You can't sit here and say, okay, for your 5 pages, it's going to be $500, but for someone else's, it could be 1,000. Or for this, then again, also a craft, don't pay artists $20 to make something unless it's something that they feel is worth $20 because it's their time. And yes, some things get better with quickness, but other things should just go at their own pace. Do I see sitting here and charging thousands of dollars for 5 pages if it's a home about and not needing anything else that's more complex in the background? No. The hosting and maintenance, that's a different thing. You have a third party do your hosting and maintenance for you. And that's my comment on that one. Because the original OP is trying to, or original poster, OP is trying to hire a professional. But that comment doesn't really seem helpful. And let's see. FLX Websites leaves a comment. Professional website agencies exist to eliminate the headache you experience, but they do cost money. Bluehost isn't really a website design company, they are a hosting company. You should look for a reputable local agency in your area. The way you can, or that way you can have a personal relationship with the people who are designing, building, and supporting your website. Mm, I agree with this person. It's like they're saying essentially with that comment, Bluehost is hosting. That's like going to a Arby's and expecting Applebee's quality. They're potentially priced the same, but one is known for being a fast food chain and one is known for being a sit and eat in restaurant. They serve the same purpose. They can both provide you with food, but it's not necessarily the food that you want. It's the same thing with Bluehost. They can provide hosts or they can build a website, but that probably is not the best website for you. And they do, it sounds like what they were doing earlier is a agency, which basically an agency will have multiple designers or multiple developers or multiple people that are working and building on your website so the task is shared. I might need to find an interview someone that's worked for an agency though, because I do know some people that own agencies they are basically fighting and marketing to get people in, which is great. I just, I'm not experienced enough to necessarily know the true difference between an agency versus a sole proprietorship. Like, I know the difference is one's a one person show. The other one is you have multiple people underneath you to delegate the work. I get that concept, but in regards of which one's better, I think it's a case by case basis thing. And based on what this person wanted, I think that they could have just gone with the one person designer without having to have a local agency. And also, too, if they know what website they want, they may want to go with a type agency. Like, I know there are specific ones that focus on Webflow, Wix, WordPress. WordPress especially has agencies. So, yeah. Mm. If they don't know, though, how to find a local designer, I'm pretty sure, even though they're asking for advice, they probably don't know how to locate a local agency in their area. I don't know either. I'm going to need to have to figure that out because maybe I'll find an agency. However, sometimes those websites are so encrypted and scripted where you know that they exist, they're out there, but they don't tell what they do because they say that they're protecting a trade secret. At the same time, they're not protecting a trade secret. So it that's a whole rabbit hole. We will go down. So Momo be cray cray. I love that name. This. Be very suspicious of a hosting company offering design or development services. They are just outsourced a to low cost countries or AI anyways. Using a hosting company for hosting and find a specialist designer developer agency for the actual site. Also Bluehost, GoDaddy, etc. Pretty much any hosting company that has shareholders or is funded by venture capital firms are terrible and shifted services. I don't know what that word is. Brought my vocabulary tonight. We're going to ignore the Institution describes the gradual, deliberate degradation of online platforms and digital services. It was added in 2025. Well, that's a fun fact. Was not expecting that tonight. Uh, but if you don't have venture capital to pay for your idea, how are you going to get the idea off the ground? We're not going into philosophy tonight. Okay. And then this person says, then you don't need a website. Shut it down. What? Um, I don't need all that. I don't understand what that person's comment was in regards to. Uh, Another commenter said, that's fine, but you have to understand that this is the crux of your issue. You don't want to pay for professionals, which is fine, but when you're wondering why you're not getting professional results, you can't name your price and quality. You have to pick one, and the market will decide the other. That said, you may find someone who is underpricing their talent if you look long enough. That's from Bone Stance. And that's all I was saying about underpricing your value. I Oh, okay, I got it. So this is connected back to the don't be cheap, hire a professional. Uh, Again, don't. I feel like this OP original poster did not give us enough context to sit here, and even still, don't have all it's just like I wouldn't sit here and judge someone's finances if I don't have a full scope of them. And guess like even if someone goes through and fills out one of those little worksheets, I'm never going to know every single last dime, every single last penny. And also, I don't know where the best place is to put it. I don't think that comments necessarily need to be sitting here saying, I like the way that this person put it over what someone else did. But I don't think that we need to be putting each other down and saying, oh, well, you're not hiring the right person. They asked for help and they didn't give us enough context to say, well, I only need 2 pages. Maybe they don't need a complicated website design, but we don't know what they're building. So, or what their business is. This person's name is Confident Twist 3477. You don't need what exactly? Hosting, maintenance, or a professional? At least they did try to clarify the question. You don't know what you do need all that. That's the issue. You're right, you don't. $200 a month for maintenance is not feasible for a small business owner. Again, this person, I don't know if it's a you're right, but we don't know what their financial statement looks like, how much they have that they can't afford to put towards their website right now. Don't listen to these people. There are plenty of options less than 1,000, but it needs to be done right by someone who knows what they're doing and doesn't overcharge. So also that's something I will need to reevaluate because I'm thinking right now and one of my goals in the future may be to try to do 148 websites in a year. But I don't know if that's going to be 5 pages, 3 pages, 2 pages. What I have to look for all these clients, and they hopefully will find me from these different webinars and things like that. But it's not an easy process to try to find people, and it's not an easy process for people to try to find us or trying to do website building, strategy, design. Because I'm more focused on strategy. I don't just want to build to build. I want to build with a purpose. Okay, now we have mediocre lead 5119. That's an unfortunate nickname. Myself, I'm a freelancer. I work with people only who has the business potential. Otherwise, no matter what no matter what amount of money throw at me, I'll never work. Ask their portfolio, especially for your industry, and see their website that will include everything you need to know. I agree with asking for a designer's portfolio. If they're going to be hands, though, which this person doesn't know that, but there are just websites where you can go to a designer's page, well, a designer market, which we've seen, and go and see their work. Or they should have an open portfolio. Now, there is a little caveat for the portfolios. If they're a small business owner themselves, one person or agency, I'll say with the one person, they probably will have something. However, some things may have to be under lock and key due to if they did research and everything else. So you're trying to find someone that has a similar website, it's going to seem vague no matter what, because not everything, I mean, they got paid for the money, got paid for the work. They are not just going to spill, if you're selling cars, they're not going to spill the trade secrets behind what this car person does to you to use on your website. So just keep that in mind when you're asking for a portfolio and you feel like it's empty. It might have to be. They may have to have a password on it. They may not be able to show you all their work that they've done and they're only able to show you. But that's just because the tech industry has things so locked down no matter what sub industry like fintech and everything else that you're in. So, and also I would say I'm not a grammar police. However, and I'm assuming that this is typed up quickly. This is why grammar, spelling, and punctuation is important when you're trying to find clients. And if we can't get the basics down of communication, that's already a problem. An educational reason actually responded to the person and said, you would think Bluehost would be legitimate and check all of those boxes. There's a lot of downvotes. And yours You User Nami. Usernami? I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce this user's name. But this poster says you can buy a fish at a steakhouse, but you don't buy steak at a fish house. You went to a hosting company for a creative tasks website. Next time, hire a web designer and then pay them hosting. We could have stopped at you can buy a fish at a steakhouse, but don't buy steak at a fish house. Right there, we could have stopped. I agree with that statement, so we're only going to say that statement because it's true. You can ask and request for things to be done, but that doesn't mean that they know how to do it or know how to do it well. I would also give the example that you can ask a knitter to crochet a doll, but you can't ask. Never mind. I don't know where I'm going with that, but I get what they're saying. If it's not the right place, it's not the right place. Uh, I'm just looking at if there's any additional comments because this honestly could be a two-part thread. I might be coming back to this. I may do a surprise pop on Friday because one, I started this late, and two, I kind of want to read more into the story and have this all wrapped up by the end of the week for this Reddit episode. Bluehost commented, "Oh, and there's only 3 minutes. It's not that much, but they did comment. Oh, no." No. Okay, so what we're going to do next. And you can't tell I live for the tea. I live for the drama. So I read that one. I'm going to end the night, hopefully, with this good one from ALO USA 37729. And then we're coming back. We are coming back for that Bluehost comment because I want to read it. I hope it is worth it to come back to on Friday. So this commenter says, "You're absolutely right, 100%. Bluehost is one of the worst." We're ending this on a mean note. But there is some history apparently in this. Bluehost is one of the worst hosting services I've ever dealt with. I had a website hosted there, and their own team admitted that their servers were hacked, and the data had to be migrated to another server. I mean, with that comment, I don't think that's something within their control. I am not a cybersecurity person, obviously. I don't hack websites. But I feel like that's similar to our hospital systems and credit card systems. Sometimes things just get hacked and there's breaches and we let people know out in the world. So while I'm concerned, I'm also not too concerned because any information that's been kept in any organization, even with the government, someone's going to be able to access it. There's a reason why you're able to apply for things with social security number. Anyways, on top of that, simply signing into your account is a nightmare. Oh, well, maybe we'll just do a day where we review Blue hosting and try to go through that and see if we even, based on this Reddit thread, I don't think I want to have any hosting there. What kind of hosting company asks users to tick a box saying whether they were a pre-2019 or post-2019 customer? That's a great question. Why are we asking this question? Admin sign in takes you from 3 pages. If you can't manage something this basic, that's a serious red flag. I eventually moved my website to Hostinger. I have heard about them too. And honestly, I haven't had any major complaints so far. So we might be doing some hosting company comparisons because I feel like I might have to cross that bridge someday. I am curious as to why they want to know pre 2019 or post 2019 customers. That is not a normal question. I'm even thinking about if someone went to a home improvement store, because I've worked at one before, we don't ask, I never asked someone if they, like, you need to know when someone's getting a kitchen project done and when the last time was that they did it. Or, like, if someone's doing a receipt return, is the receipt within the last 2 years? But yeah. But it sounds like their onboarding experience may be a problem. And I will say, if you are going to a website designer, a website builder, a website strategist, anything that has to deal with taking your idea and putting it online somewhere, if you are having issues with the experience, just like this poster said, I would say do not use that service. If you are having issues just with the start of your journey, that is not a good sign. So that is something I will focus on my website when I am restructuring it, because if you all do not have a good experience with onboarding, feel free to give me feedback on any of the platforms that are listed below, because I want to hear that feedback. I want to improve. I want to make it a better experience so that it's a long-term business relationship, not a short term, oh, I can get this done fast. Because longevity to me is more important than quick, speedy, get it done in a hurry. But for now, it is 9:57 and I got another stream to do on a different platform. So thank you all again for tuning in, and I might see you tomorrow. If not, I will see you on Saturday. Have a good one. Bye.